Let's be clear. I mean, I want specifically because you have made allegations and revelations over the years, and it's come out later, mainstream media confirming that you've said contractors and the Pentagon have been caught shipping in Taliban, Al-Qaeda to kill our own soldiers to make the war look like it's real. And you talked about Merck's bringing in weapons. You're saying there's no evidence that Blackwater was doing that. This was separate.
The company that I was told was involved in this, it was the U.S. military, but not any specific contractor involved with bringing these people into Baghdad. These were Afghani Taliban who said they were there to basically set off road bombs and things like that. So, I mean, this gets in this murky area of this contracting, outsourcing. By the intelligence community, the CIA, the Pentagon, but it's a free-for-all in Iraq. I've talked to people who've been over there recently. There has been no real improvement in the infrastructure in Iraq since we invaded that country in 2003. So this country is ripe.
This is genocide, but that's what the federal filing, the FBI is saying this. And I mean, we're just reporting on what's being said here. That Eric Prince would chastise Blackwater XE officers when they would send psychopaths home who would just enjoyed killing people and raping people, and that Prince would laugh and send them back. Let's get into some of the federal allegations here. Raping children, pimping little girls, and then wife swapping back at the I mean, what's going on here?
Well, yeah, these two ex-Blackwater employees who have been who actually are testifying on behalf of the Iraqi families whose loved ones were killed by Blackwater troops in a central square in Baghdad a few years ago. They're testifying on their behalf, saying that back at the North Carolina headquarters, the senior executives, there was wife swapping going on there. No action was taken. There was the use of these what they called a man camp in Baghdad that was basically some place where Blackwater guys would go to avail themselves of prostitutes, including a child prostitute. They said that people who wanted to blow the whistle on all these Blackwater scandals were threatened with being killed, and some had them killed. Now, I've covered a number of deaths among active duty and contractor personnel in Iraq, so there's a lot of smoking guns.
Yeah, this isn't just enemies of the contractors. This is women in the contracting deal. They'll just rape them, torture them to death. Army, Marine Corps investigators about missing missiles, weapons. They just frag them. And I saw numbers in the thousands of fragged officers. I mean, this just sounds like, and that the C-130s, the New York Times admitted that everyone just uses the bathroom in buckets now and everything's collapsing. I mean, is this Walter Reed's collapsing? I mean, is this just like, my God, are they just, I mean, maybe the good news is they're so corrupt that everything's just going to collapse.
Well, I mean, before these guys are returning from countries where they're eating basically food courtesy of KBR, used to be Dick Cheney's Halliburton that owned that, but they're literally eating crap in their food, and the water is putrid. I would hope that they understand who the enemy is when they come back here, and if they're ordered to go quarantine American citizens, they ought to quarantine the people in Washington who are issuing these orders.
But you've seen those confirmed reports where just any good-looking woman out there gets basically killed.
Yeah, and then you know how many of those cases in Iraq where they were, ruled suicides? I put that in quotation marks because some of these people, like Colonel Ted Westhusing, they said he shot himself right before he was supposed to come back to the United States. The Army's top ethics officer from West Point, who was actually investigating contractor fraud over there at the time. Now, his family doesn't believe for 1 minute he killed himself. So there's a lot of these so-called
And they clearly
suicides.
killed Pat Tillman.
Yeah, absolutely they did. And these are homicides that the military has never investigated. So I think it's time, for the FBI to start investigating the Pentagon here.
My God, Wayne, are we the most corrupt country on earth?
Well, there are many more corrupt countries where the system is just a kleptocracy. Let's look at Nigeria, for example. Hillary's over there today telling them they have to clean up their act.
But they generally have kingpins that kind of keep it in order, though. I mean, here it's just like grabbing and stealing and raping and murdering and just like wild pirates or something.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's there's no system to our corruption and the kleptocracy in this country, and a lot of people are stealing and killing, but we go around and parade around and say we're the greatest democracy on the planet, which is a laugh.
All right, I interrupted you on the Hillary thing, and if we have time, we'll get back into Nigeria. But the limited time we have, the main reason I got you on, I watched your Russia Today transmission. And I did notice that some of the usual suspects have really been pushing the birther issue. We've just looked at it because I don't believe anything Obama says. He does have a weird, Barry Soetoro, weird passports, mom, for the Annenberg Foundation and Geithner's dad and all these other, the Ford Foundation with micro lending, and Obama with weird passports into Pakistan right out of high school. So he looks like an intelligence front. Not so much a Kenyan, but I still look at it. I mean, but more and more. Well, you're saying that Israel's using this birther issue to menace him, to keep him in line. That Netanyahu has either picked up on this or is behind it. What is your intel? Without naming names, where are you getting this intel from?
Well, I mean, this issue sort of died, and then when Obama started getting tough on the settlements with Netanyahu, all of a sudden this woman, Orly Tates, out of California, pops up with this Defend Our Freedoms Foundation. Now, she said that, she got on television, did this big media blitz. She also is tied up with organizations that are linked to the Likud government and Netanyahu in Israel. She was born in Moldova, moved to Israel, and then came over here. I mean, for her to be questioning the nationality of the President of the United States, I think somebody ought to go back and see how she got in this country. After she makes her big allegations, 2 days later she pops up in Tel Aviv on television. Now, she submitted this fake birth certificate in a lawsuit. Maybe she realizes that somebody must have said, even though she's a lawyer, she got her law degree apparently from some online internet university. But maybe somebody tapped her on the shoulder, a real lawyer, and said, it's a felony to submit a known forgery to a federal court. So she
but couldn't Israel also be putting out fake birth certificates to discredit things? I mean,
absolutely. I mean, look, they had their finger. I mean, the neocons had their fingerprints all over those Niger yellow cake documents. They had their fingerprints on the Iraqi oil ministry documents that showed supposedly all these anti-war politicians around the world got money from Saddam Hussein. These were all forgeries. And yes, Israel specializes in forgeries because, remember, the motto of the Mossad is through deception thou shalt wage war. So that's just another method that they use.
By way of deception, we shall wage war, yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is, you've got the IDF soldier, and clearly not even just a dual citizen, and pretty much I would say he's an Israeli, the White House Chief of Staff, the true joker here, Rahm Emanuel, and his Dr. Death eugenics brother. I mean, what a crew. I mean, this is just getting crazier and crazier. And so you're saying Netanyahu may be leaking this. I would see it just as probable that they put out the fake birth certificates to discredit it. I mean, why would Israel want to get rid of Obama when he's been going along with pretty much everything they want?
Well, Obama actually has, and there's thought that there is a feud between Emmanuel and Netanyahu over the settlements issue.
The leaked Israeli ambassador to Washington thing in the Washington Post, yeah.
Right, the consul general in Boston, said that they were it was hurting relations. I mean, and then this, seeing rabbis in handcuffs in New York and New Jersey. I mean, obviously, there's a feeling that the federal government is getting tough with the Israelis, and then all of a sudden this birth certificate thing pops up. So Netanyahu, is close to this woman Orly Tates, who was the head of this the most recent operation on the birth certificate. I would also
So you think Obama really is a few degrees tougher on Israel than Bush?
Oh, I believe he is. I mean, you never saw, basically this rabbi network was supporting the Shas party, which is a key member of Netanyahu's coalition government. So these guys are being let out in handcuffs.
Oh, you think that's Obama's people saying we can blackmail you too?
Oh, we can, yeah. Our Justice Department can go after your money sources over here, and in that case, they did.
Wayne, tell us more about that in the final segment. Straight ahead. WayneMadsenReport.com.